Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers recap and analysis, with the Pittsburgh Steelers having an off day Monday and the Pats coming on today, Tuesday. Wanted to do a brief recap of the Pittsburgh Steelers' first 4 days of their 2023 training camp, just a position by position group, overall thoughts on what's happened so far. And keep in mind, it is still early in camp, early in a very long and important process, and the team is not in pads until today. And so trying to evaluate padless practice that has really an OTA type of feel is obviously more difficult, and drawing hard conclusions is a dangerous game to play. But with the quarterback position, overall, I think it's been fine. I thought Pickett has, been generally comfortable and confident and thrown the ball more aggressively than he did a year ago, which you would certainly expect, a guy that's been through a whole camp and preseason and regular season and the ups and downs that come along with that. So you're seeing a different guy now compared to a season ago, pretty common for second year players like him. It's hard to really say, what a grade you would put on it, and I'm not really into that right now this early in the process. I think that Saturday was probably his worst day. It was true for the whole offense, and then he bounced back on Sunday. Is the arm look stronger? I can't really tell. Some of the deep balls have been still slightly underthrown, so dude's never going to have a howitzer, but I think he's cool, confident, in command, and off to a fine start. Mitch Trubisky has been really nondescript, nothing terrible. He didn't practice on Sunday. He got just kind of a vet stay off to allow Tanner Morgan some more snaps. I imagine him and Mason Rudolph will kind of get a day here and there, maybe once a week, to allow a guy like Morgan some additional reps, and for Mason to work with the twos on a day where Trubisky does not work in team sessions. So don't have much on Mitch, but he'll be the number 2 quarterback, and that's pretty much set in stone. Mason Rudolph has looked worse than I thought. He's thrown the only 3 interceptions by quarterbacks through the first 4 practices, and all 3 were pretty ugly. There was one thrown right to Elijah Riley on day 1 of camp, and then 2 picks on Sunday, both picked off by Kenny Robinson, 1 in 7 shots, and one later in the team period, in a separate team period on a deep ball that was kind of a lame duck. There was some pressure, but not Rudolph's best throw, that's for sure. But he'll be this team's number 3, really, regardless of camp practice. Not a great start for him, but he's not going to go anywhere. And then Tanner Morgan as the number 4, getting his first team reps on Sunday. Threw 7 passes, went 2 for 7 for 13 yards. But he's aggressive. I mean, this guy's got a mentality of, I'll take the advantage and the chance that I'm given and throw the ball downfield, not just play for the checkdowns. Not going to be enough, but maybe he gets in the game, something Chris Oladokun could not do last year. So there may be a chance for Morgan to be evaluated a bit more this year than Pittsburgh's 4th-string quarterback last season. Running backs overall, again, tough to really evaluate them confidently when they're not in pads. But I would say, Najee Harris has looked fine. Maybe a little less involvement in the pass game than I thought, but it is still early in this process. Jaylen Warren has been fine. I'm sure when the pads come on today and throughout the week, he'll be his bowling ball self, and we'll see how he looks in backs on backers. Anthony McFarland has really kind of not cemented, I should say, but started out in that clear number 3 position. As there's that wide open battle for that 3rd running back spot on this roster. He's gotten a ton of reps, a lot of pony personnel groupings, 2 running back sets, and so that's given him a fair amount of additional reps. He's caught the ball well. He's still trying to play on special teams. We'll see how it looks in the preseason action inside stadium. So you would expect McFarland to obviously look, competent in these situations. He's a veteran guy, training camp, no pads on. This should be an environment he does do well in, and he is, and that's fine to do, but we'll see when the pads come on. Can he block? Can he run between the tackles? That'll be the key for him, but right now he's got the leg up on that 3rd-string job. Jason Huntley has been working behind McFarland, call him the number 4 running back. He's a bit thicker body than I thought he was. He was listed at like 5'8", but $190. He looks a bit heavier than that, at least in the midsection, so there's some size that Pittsburgh generally likes, but don't have a ton of notes. It was the first day he made a nice cut to his right, so some lateral movement with Huntley, but don't have a lot of notes on him. And Darius Higgins, the rookie running back from Virginia State, has gotten just a couple of carries. He looks the part. He's got some special teams experience and background, but reps so far have been hard to come by. Unfortunately, a fellow rookie Alonzo Graham tore his labrum, and he's out for the season. At tight end, Pat Frymuth has been active and involved in standing up. I think you're going to see this guy stand up in slot alignment a fair amount this year, and they're going to be more creative with his route tree and continue to get him downfield vertically, as they did a better job of in 2022 compared to 2021. Zach Gentry's had a nice camp. Nothing bad to say about him. We'll see how the blocking looks. I think he was regressing as a blocker last year compared to 2 years ago, but he's got a couple of touchdowns in 7 shots. Connor Hayward's impressed. Dude's lined up everywhere. Slot receiver, out wide, tight end, actual true running back to his earlier Michigan State days. There was a one true running back carry that he had in Sunday's practice. He's caught the ball well overall. Dude has a knack for making the play, so it's been good overall. Darnell Washington, the rookie's been quiet. He's had a false start. Been unable to come down with a couple of catches, and so it's been tough for him, but we'll see how it looks, but it has to be better than it has been the first couple of days. And short note on Rodney Williams, who's really more of a receiver, a little bit undersized in terms of just his frame and height for the position, though not terribly so, but I haven't noticed a whole lot from him, just a couple of underneath grabs. Wide receiver room, probably won't run through every name because there's been just so many of them. I would say a couple stand out in a positive direction. George Pickens looks like, typical George Pickens. Haven't seen necessarily the Moss place downfield. There haven't been a ton of chances for him to do that, though he's caught a couple downfield with a step on a guy, including a big 49-yard catch on Corey Trice on Sunday. But I've seen just more of a well-roundedness in his game, a guy that's running a fuller route tree, a guy that looks more comfortable and natural and moving around the formation, more involved in motions, and that's going to be important to really round out his game, not just being the vertical guy. He'll very much be the vertical guy, but you want to be more than just that. Cody White has pleasantly surprised, same with Gunnar Olszewski. Those guys have made tough catches. Olszewski showing good body control, White going over the middle. I don't think White's going to really still push for a 53-man roster spot, but practice squad, again, is a distinct possibility. He can play teams. He's versatile. They know him pretty well. Olszewski will be in that return mix. If he can be the return man, then he can capture a roster spot. If not, then it's going to be pretty tough for him. Calvin Austin has been up and down. The catch radius is just really small with him, and so trying to extend outside his frame is difficult. Quarterbacks really have to be pinpoint and put it on this guy. But he has made some plays downfield, had a big 40-ish yard catch, I think during either Saturdays or Sundays practice. And so you're seeing some good and bad for a guy that missed his whole rookie year and is trying to get back on track and knock off some of that rust. Beyond that, Hakeem Butler had a good practice on, I think it was either Friday or Saturday, a couple of catches, but he's been relatively quiet overall. And from there, Deontay's missed some time, and so there's not much of an evaluation, but he looks fine. I certainly have no issues with anything Deontay has done on the field so far. I think that's really about it for the receiver room. Again, more names there, but just kind of for the sake of trying to shorten this video, we'll move on now to the offensive line. And O-line is really tough to evaluate because the pads are not on. They're not really in full contact. The tackles have certainly had trouble with Pittsburgh's edge rushers. LaRaven Clark is probably wishing that this team did not draft Nick Herbig. He's been dusted by him around the edge multiple times already. Dan Moore's had trouble with Herbig. Broderick Jones has had some trouble sealing the edge, but it's early, and I think it's really improper to give any sort of valuation for the O-line so far. Guys have started to move around. Spencer Anderson, 7th-round pick, has played both guard spots and right tackle. Ryan McCollum has played left guard and center. Nate Herbig got center reps in Sunday's practice, and so he's a guy that could be in that backup center job behind Mason Cole, battling with McCollum, battling with Kendrick Green, who's been taking most of the second-team center snaps, but on Sunday it was Herbig running second-team center and Kendrick Green running third-team, so we'll let that thing kind of unfold so far. Dan Moore getting right tackle snaps on Sunday as well, so these guys are starting to move around. Defensive line, again, same thing, tougher to evaluate. DeMarvin Leal has played both, true hand-down defensive line and stand-up outside linebacker, so he's going to be used probably relatively similar to last year. Probably still a bit more, I would say, defensive line work, especially in sub-packages, but I think Pittsburgh wants to utilize his pretty freakish athleticism. We'll see how it looks again when the pads come on. Keanu Benton has shown some burst and some athleticism and working in sub-package, running second-team nose tackle right now. Montravius Adams has flashed a little bit as he battles to remain this team's starting nose tackle. Braden Fajoko's made a play or two, but again, valuations are pretty tough to judge right now. The edge guys, though, can be evaluated, and they look really strong. It's really across the board. Of course, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith have been impressive, as you would expect. Herbig has really shown his athleticism and fluidity and ability to win the edge with a great burst and, being able to bend the edge and corner and flatten. So he's done that well. Even guys like David Perales, the rookie from Fresno State, Toby and Dukeway from Sam Houston State have had their moments, and so it's been, I think, a really strong group collectively. Inside linebacker, you add Quan Alexander into the mix, and so we'll see exactly how he looks. I think he'll have to carve out a defensive role in some form or fashion for this defense. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I don't think he was signed to just play special teams and be the backup in case somebody gets hurt in front. Cole Holcomb, I think, has been impressive. He was stacking some good practices Saturday, Sunday, multiple breakups, one on Pat Fryermuth, one against Najee Harris, stuffing the run well, hard worker, one of the first guys down on the field, and so he's been impressive. Mark Robinson, I think, has looked good. It's been a pretty good group overall, but again, Pats come on, evaluate run session, evaluate backs on backers. We'll get more information on those guys. Cornerback Patrick Peterson, true to Pittsburgh's word and Peterson's desire, he's moved around. He's played outside corner, slot corner, safety. He's kind of done it all, and so he may truly be, at least attempted to be, this year's Cam Sutton. Pittsburgh exploring that there pretty heavily right now. Of course, the rookies, Joey Porter Jr., Corey Trice Jr., I think have overall been impressive. Porter, very hard worker, always working on his hands and catching the football and working with the coach, and so he's a guy with one career interception, and that's for probably a variety of reasons. I'm not saying his hands are bad, but you want to work on that because he was not known as a ball hawk in college at Penn State, and Pittsburgh has a pretty aggressive mentality in the secondary. They want to take the football away. That's been true since Terrell Austin came in, first as the DB's coach, and then as a defensive coordinator. So I think Porter's done well to defend the whole route tree, whether that's vertical shots against Calvin Austin. He's running step for step with him, slant routes, using his size, using his length, maybe a little bit grabby. Trice has had an issue too with some of his technique, but the traits are there. Trice is a very fluid guy who can open his hips and turn and run. And so I think both guys have looked good initially. Slot corner is a real grab bag. They've had 5 different people working in the slot: Peterson, Trey Norwood, Elijah Riley, Chandon Sullivan, and Duke Dawson. I think Peterson will bump inside on third downs, obvious pass situations, and kind of, again, wear that Cam Sutton hat. And I think Pittsburgh will look for a rundown type of slot corner like they had in Arthur Millette and what Mike Hilton brought, although Hilton was an every down all situation slot corner. So I think Elijah Riley could potentially be that guy. Maybe Duke Dawson as well. That battle will continue, but I think Riley might have the early leg up for some slot corner snaps. And then at safety, some injuries there. DeMonte Casey and Press, he's battling an ankle injury right now. Minkah Fitzpatrick has not practiced all camp due to personal reasons. We'll see if he's out there on the field come Tuesday. Kenny Robinson was the talk of the town on Sunday. 2 interceptions, really quality picks off of Mason Rudolph. A slant route he stepped in front of in 7 shots, and then a great tracking of the football and a deep ball downfield that he high-pointed and took it away. So those kind of splash plays will get you noticed. Can you stack them? Can you have consecutive and continual good days? And can you make plays on special teams? That'll still be the challenge for Kenny Robinson. He was a talented guy who had some off-field stuff, I think, at West Virginia. I'm not even sure the whole story there, but he was drafted, and so he's viewed as a draftable talent. So there is something there with Kenny Robinson. Keanu Neal has looked fine. He's a guy that wants to hit, and so probably as excited as anybody for the Pats to come on later today. Beyond that, probably nothing that has stuck out too terribly much. Miles Killebrew, I think, will have a roster spot because he's been the first team up back replacing Marcus Allen on the punt coverage team, and that's a really important spot. And, I don't think they're going to cut Killebrew. He's going to almost certainly be this team's special teams captain, and he's going to have a real value in that regard. So that is my overview of camp so far. I don't really have any true winners, losers right now because it is so early, but just hopefully touched on the roster at every single position to give you guys a feel of what's happening at St. Vincent College. Continual process. Tuesday, today, a big day when the Pats come on. Evaluation really kicks up. The practice will certainly have a different kind of tenor and tone and feel compared to when they were in shells, and it kind of has that spring ball environment of we're just all running around and playing tag. It will not be tag today. That's certainly it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. If you guys could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. Again, thank you for watching and listening. I know there was no video. I'm sorry there was no video. I should have mentioned that earlier. I'm sure I'll get comments about that. Just trying to get this video out. Very busy time of year for me, so I don't have any camp video to show you guys anyway. I'm not allowed to film competition periods and team drills and all that kind of stuff, and so I'm just going to put up that usual Steelers little logo there. So hopefully that will suffice, and hopefully the information has been good enough. But again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.